Hello and welcome to the Black Card Club Virtual. Sit back, relax and enjoy this content.
I'm here in Cambridge, one of the world's oldest universities. It's known for its outstanding academic achievements, and I'm here to meet a man who's not only mastered the Rubik's Cube, but he's taken it to a whole new level.
I'm Gabriel De Kiki. I'm 21 years old and I solve the Rubik's Cube in many ways, mostly blindfolded, so I use my memory to solve the Rubik's Cube.
Invented in 1974 by Hungarian Erno Rubik, the Rubik's Cube is a three-dimensional combination puzzle. With over 350 million sold worldwide, it's become the world's most popular toy, and there are annual tournaments held to reward the fastest solvers. I've heard that Gabriel is the best, and he's currently here being studied by the university's memory lab. I've arranged to meet him at the local pub, where he and the Cubing Society compete. From the rate this guy is working at, I think I found the right man. I'm assuming you must be Gabriel.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Tom.
I'm Tom. Hi guys, how you doing? You good? So I've just seen you finish one in super quick time. How does it work?
It's quite simple. Basically, you have a basic principle, which is the centers. The centers never move.
Yeah.
So if you see a center and it's green, it tells you the whole face. So the whole face is green. And you have to look at any other piece and follow that. So if you see a piece like it's green and red,
yeah,
you have to look to the centers that is green and red and put this piece over here.
Right, okay.
So that's the basic principle, right?
Because these things have kind of haunted me since I was a kid. And I used to do, the only way you could solve it was peel the stickers off and then swap them around and put them back on. And they're incredibly frustrating. But I would like to be able to kind of learn.
If you get the logic, the cube gets really, really easy.
I'm not sure I'm ever going to find this easy. While Gabriel flies through the cubes next to me, his friend Zach shows me the basics.
Yeah. Okay, so the usual way to start is to make a cross or like a plus sign.
Yeah, so I've got to get that piece there, right?
Yeah, just next to the blue centre.
It's so difficult, it took inventor Erno Rubik an entire month to learn how to solve his own puzzle. Oh, it's back to front. God, this is difficult just doing like one piece at a time. Around the world, people have developed their own strategies, and the internet is now littered with complex tutorials. The process is often broken down into smaller steps. But even once you learn those, there are still over 43 quintillion possible positions on each cube. I want to find out how Gabriel is able to solve a Rubik's Cube at the insanely fast speeds that he does.
Like that. It gets better.
Look at this, though! I'm literally struggling to do kind of one or two pieces at the moment, and you've done 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 cubes. It's not very often I feel stupid, but I'm feeling a bit stupid right now.
It's just practice, right? It gets really natural when you practice a lot.
How do you challenge yourself when you can do them in?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways we can challenge ourselves in the Rubik's Cube. We can solve with one hand, for example, to test your dexterity. But one that I particularly love to do is to solve it blindfolded.
You're kidding me?
No, that's...
I've got to see this. Have you got a blindfold?
Yeah. So you can scramble the cube for me?
Yeah. The scramble bit I can do.
Nice.
Solving the Rubik's Cube whilst looking at it is hard enough, let alone blindfolded.
Okay, so I'll put the blindfold on.
Yeah. How long do you need to see for the memory?
I would say like between 20 and 30 seconds.
Okay. And you're not moving it at that point, you're just studying
Not moving
it?
at all, just studying it.
Okay. Go. Gabriel looks over the cube, seemingly memorizing the position of each square.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go for it. His hands are moving too fast to see. I can't even imagine what's going on in his brain. That did not just happen. Dude, you can spin it quicker than I can spin it when I'm looking at it, and you've got a blindfold on and you're figuring out. How many moves was in that? Like 50 or 60?
It's actually a bit more, about 100 moves when I'm solving the blindfolded. Yes, it's a lot of moves. But it's when you practice a lot, it's on your head, so it gets a bit easier. But Gabriel has another trick that will demonstrate the sheer power of his memory. He says he can memorize the position of every single square on 15 scrambled Rubik's Cubes, and he thinks he'll be able to spot just a single change. So I'm indeed looking on key pieces, so it's a bit faster, but I memorize all the things, and I will spot which cube is wrong. You know when one's changed? Yeah. Okay, I like this challenge. Okay, nice. So I'll start memorizing. Okay. Lots of people can solve the Rubik's Cube, but if he can do this, it really would demonstrate an extraordinary memory. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. Okay, I'll just put a blindfold now, and you can change any cube you want. Okay. Right, go for it. I'm convinced this is impossible. However, when he picks up the cube I altered, he appears to spot the difference straight away. He checks the others to make sure. It was this one, and I'm about to tell you which size is removed. So I'm pretty sure you move this size over there. You have done this move, right? How do you actually do it? Every sticker has a letter for me. A letter? A letter, yeah. Right. And with that letter, with two letters, I form a word. And with that word, I form a visual image in my brain. And we have excellent visual memory. Yeah. So anything that is visual, it's go deeper in our minds. Right, okay. That is very impressive. Thank you. What Gabriel just did goes way beyond solving a Rubik's Cube. There were 810 squares on those cubes, and yet Gabriel spotted a single change. It was this one. I want to know how he is able to memorize and process this information so quickly in his brain. We step outside, and Gabriel tells me about the techniques he uses, starting with what he calls his memory palace. You take images or any information you want and link that information to a certain space on a room that's really familiar for you. Yeah. Like your own bedroom, to your own kitchen, to your bathroom, and so on. And if I redo this path, I can actually remember all. It triggers it triggers the image. It comes back. Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense now. That's a logical technique. That's intuitive. Yeah.
linking it to stuff that you're already so certain about.
Yeah.
Right,
So that's a technique
okay.
for you to memorize a whole bunch of information and never forget it.
Gabriel Dakiki claims to have always had an impressive memory. He says his ability to solve a Rubik's Cube at breakneck speed is down to learning how to exploit the brain's natural method of storing information.
My talent is actually spatial logic and visual memory and all the things that relate to that. And the Rubik's Cube is just a way of showing that in a really awesome way, I'd say.
The human brain consists of around 100 billion neurons, specialized cells that process and transmit information. These neurons communicate through thousands of connections, also known as synapses. Memories are formed when certain connections are strengthened. Most people are unable to access all of the brain's enormous power. But with his seemingly superhuman memory, I'm keen to explore how Gabriel's brain might differ from a normal person's. To do that, David Vogelsang from the Cambridge Memory Lab is going to carry out an electroencephalogram or EEG test on both of us. And I'm going first.
Now this will be a bit cold and wet.
That's all right. The EEG involves a cap being placed on my head, which contains 128 individual electrodes.
Oh, it does feel weird.
Each electrode has to make direct contact with my scalp. While it may look a bit like a hairnet, it will measure how the neurons in my brain activate when something triggers my memory.
The things I do in the name of science, eh?
A baseline reading is taken first, from which David will later be able to measure my memory reactions.
So in this experiment, you will be presented with a series of words. You have to judge whether you think the word is pleasant or not.
Pleasant.
Okay, if you think it's pleasant, you press yes, which is button number 2.
Yeah.
If you don't think it's very pleasant, you press no, button number 1.
Okay.
Are you good to go?
Yep. This test has been designed by the world's leading memory researchers. Every question is designed to fire specific areas of my brain. Next, I have to identify words which have certain letters in them.
Now you have to judge whether the letters O or U are in the words. Okay?
Yep. Now for the final test, my memory recall. I'm asked if I can identify words which appeared in either of the previous 2 tests.
Okay.
I feel quite tired, actually.
Yes, I think you did really well. So your brain activation is really nice. So
Focusing for that amount of time certainly feels like it's taken its toll on me.
is that okay?
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, it scrambles your brain as well. God, it's super intense. Like, just concentrating for, what's that, 20 minutes or so, I think. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the results now.
But first, it's Gabriel's turn. He's taken through the tests one by one while I watch on.
The technology that's involved in these sorts of tests is just absolutely incredible.
Gabriel reaches the final phase of the test.
Now, this is the bit where it gets really interesting. This is the memory recall. So we're really testing his memory right now.
It's hard to know from looking at him whether he's finding this as difficult as I did.
What's it looking like? Is it good?
Yes, it looks really nice.
David's now going to process the data to work out if it's the speed of Gabriel's brain that's the key to his puzzle-solving skills. We're headed to meet leading neuro-researcher Debbie Green, who has another challenge to try and find out how powerful Gabriel's memory really is.
Hey, how are you? I'm Tom.
Debbie, nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Debbie is going to test us both using a series of 20 highly complex visual patterns.
So the cards will look like this.
designed specifically to identify the world's most powerful memories.
So I'll show you a card that has the pattern on for 3 seconds, and then I'll put it away. As soon as I put it away, you can start drawing. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay.
I've spent years researching the human brain and training my own memory skills, so I should be better than average. But each of these images is pushing my memory to a whole new level.
Oh, these are horrible now.
And just halfway through, I've reached my limit.
Right, I'm pretty sure I got the last 5 wrong, so I'm gonna bow out now.
Okay.
But Gabriel is still sailing through. He clearly has a technique enabling him to remember the patterns.
It's getting harder.
This is the last one.
And he makes it to the final image, designed to be almost impossible.
10. Fantastic.
The ones at the end, I was just watching, like, make me feel sick. They are insanely difficult.
They get very, very hard.
Time for the results, starting with the outcome of the EEG tests. I wanted to know if Gabriel's brain functioned differently to mine when he used his memory. David has mapped the speed of our neurological responses onto a graph, and having analysed the results, his answer comes as a bit of a surprise.
So what basically happens is these responses that you see here are usually related to some kind of attentional processes, decision-making processes, and the actual recollection of an item, when you really have this vivid and detailed memory of a particular event, happens in the 500 to 800 millisecond time window, and it's reflected in this positivity. Both of you remembered them correctly, but there was no real difference between you.
That looks super similar.
It looks very similar.
I'm a little shocked by the results. I'd expected the EEG to show a difference in the way Gabriel's brain worked when compared to mine. But the speed at which we both accessed and remembered information in our brains was the same. Perhaps the result from Debbie's visual pattern test will prove Gabriel's memory is much more powerful than mine.
So for this, you can see Gabriel did a lot better. So Tom, you're looking at the 70th percentile, so still good, still very good. Gabriel, you were up on the 95th percentile, so very, very well.
While being in the top 5% of the population is impressive, the neuroscientists say it doesn't qualify him as extraordinary. But he's still outperformed me by far, and I pride myself on having a good memory. Gabriel thinks with years of dedicated practice, anyone could learn to puzzle solve like he does.
So actually it shows what I tell everybody. It's not about being born a genius or a Rubik's Cube solver. It's because I practice a lot. It's all about what I do. So I think that's a nice thing we can take from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that just anybody could do what he's about to attempt. To try and find out if he really has an extraordinary memory, we're setting Gabriel a challenge no one else on Earth has ever taken on. The test we've devised will surely push the human brain's power to the absolute limit.
Okay, so let me get this right. The challenge sounds like instead of solving a Rubik's Cube, like unsolving it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let's do it. You think you can do that?
Yeah, I think I can try. Let's do it.
Okay.
We're going to give him 3 randomly scrambled Rubik's Cubes. He has to memorize their formations. Then he has to attempt to recreate the exact position of every square on 3 brand new cubes. And in case that wasn't hard enough, he has to do it blindfolded.
Is this even possible?
But yeah, it's actually kept quite hard because not only the memory that needs to go backwards, but the movement and the solution all together needs to go backwards.
I don't want to
have a lack of faith, but I don't. There's no way that you can do this.
Thank you very much.
If you can do it, I'll buy you a pint.
Okay.
But I don't believe that's possible. There's only one way to find out. So 3 scrambled, that you've got to memorise, and then you've got 3 completed ones to start from. You're going backwards. This is not possible. I don't think this is possible. Gabriel begins. He picks each cube up in turn and starts to memorise their formation. This challenge is going to push his memory techniques to the max. He's going to have to use all the cube-solving algorithms he's mastered, but turn them completely on their head, working backwards to scramble the cubes to a precise state. I can't even begin to imagine how he's attempting to do this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here's your blindfold. Good luck.
Blindfolded, Gabriel picks up his first cube and begins to scramble it. The neuroscientists cannot believe what they are witnessing. And from what I can see, he seems to have completed the first cube correctly. He's straight on to the next. But when he pauses, I wonder if he's lost his place somehow. But then he continues. And amazingly, it looks like he's matched the second cube too. Just one more to go. There are 43 quintillion possible combinations on each cube. I have no idea how he's doing this. But incredibly, it looks like he's done it.
See?
Oh my god.
No way!
Amazing.
Hang on, I've got to check them. I've got to check them. But I think you just did that. Oh my god, right, okay, so
like this.
that one and that one.
Yeah.
That one and that one.
Yes.
And that one and that one.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Let's see.
Do you guys want to check one? We each check the cubes to make sure. That one's perfect. And somehow, Gabriel really did complete this extraordinary challenge.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh god.
You just earned yourself the best pint in the whole world.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my god, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
That was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my whole life.
That was incredible. I have confidence, but I'm very impressed.
I'm not sure I believe what I've just witnessed. Gabriel Dakiki has trained his extraordinary memory to be able to complete even the most seemingly impossible of tasks, making him the ultimate puzzle master. I set out on this quest for extraordinary humans to find people with unique abilities that rewrite the known limits of the human body. But now I'm headed across London to track down a man who performs feats so dangerous he could kill himself instantly. Brad Byers calls his own head a human toolbox and says what I'm about to see is 100% real. And if what I've seen is true, then the stunts that he pulls off are both pretty peculiar and very extreme.
My name is Brad Byers, and I'm the human toolbox. The word safety means nothing to me. So I never really know what the limits are, but I'm always pushing and I'm always trying to find out.
His stunts are unlike anything I've seen before. From the dangerous to the disgusting and the downright bizarre. But it's his claim to be a human toolbox that is the most extraordinary. He claims he can insert sharp metal tools directly into his skull. Please do not attempt to copy any of the stunts you're about to see. They could cause serious injury or even death. Brad's asked me to meet him at a hardware shop where he's picking out the right tools for the job.
Brad,
Hey,
how you doing?
good.
So what have you found so far?
Well, something like, well, that's kind of small. I think this nail here would work pretty nicely.
These ones?
Yeah.
What sort of size do you normally use? Is that
About 5 inches in length.
5 inches?
Yeah.
You're kidding me?
I'll need a hammer too, though.
This guy has got to be insane.
Right, so does it make any difference what type of hammer you got?
Well, I like a hammer with some heft to it, and it's got to have a big enough claw that I can pull it back out.
Well, I think I'm ready to see what he does.
So hang on a sec, I'm actually keen. You said you could give us a demo.
You bet. You want to see it right now?
Oh, definitely. I want to see that too.
Have you got to do anything to prep?
As a matter of fact, I'm going to clean a nail.
Just to check, like, you haven't measured these, so I don't want it to be, you know, half an inch too long or...
But we're going to find out.
Brad is finally ready to show me his trick. I'm not sure I believe what I've just seen.
These are all the same length, right?
Yeah.
Just hold tight for a second. That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
If I go any further, I'll hear that crunching noise.
Oh, no, don't do that. And now you just...
Use the claw to withdraw it.
Okay. I swear it looks longer when it came out.
What Brad has just done is insane, and it looks seriously dangerous. But I'm certain there must be a trick behind it, so I ask him to do it again.
Is there not something really ironic about cleaning a nail because it might be dangerous and then hammering it and it's 5 inches long towards your brain?
Well, it could cause some bleeding. I don't want to get an infection.
Oh, God, hang on.
Oh my.
While it looks unreal, I can't see any possible trick behind it.
Is that okay?
Yeah?
Seriously?
Yeah, it's okay.
Are you... Like, is that... hit something? Is that as far as it goes, or...?
You can go a little further, but...
Please don't. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's what I would describe as pretty full on.
And Brad doesn't want to stop there.
I can turn a screwdriver.
You're kidding me.
Okay, so that's actually a bit bigger than the nail.
Yeah, it's a bit thicker than the nail, and I can turn it and show you that I really can spin things in my head.
Oh my.
If you like, you can actually turn the handle yourself, and you can feel that it's really in there.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Just turn it like a turner screw.
Is there anything I need to avoid? Just gently?
I wouldn't jog it up and down too much, but if you
Okay.
turn it, it'll be fine.
Oh my god.
And you can go ahead and turn it the other way if you want.
Am I tightening something up now, or...?
There must be a new screw that you're tying up.
That's what people say.
There must be one in there.
Oh, wow.
Time to stop before any serious damage is done.
Right, I think that's enough demo for a minute. In the hardware store.
That was possibly the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But Brad says he's not finished there. As if the hand tools weren't enough, the next object he wants to force into his skull is a 5-inch drill bit attached to a power drill, and then, unbelievably, Brad says he's going to turn on the drill.
Does it need to be, like, have adjustable speeds as well?
Well, I like to rub it up kind of high.
But to prove it's no trick, I want him to buy a brand new drill straight out of the box. Hammering a nail into his nose is one thing, but this drill stunt is so dangerous. For safety reasons, we need to try and find somewhere with medical experts on standby.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Wish you stay alive.
After what I've just seen, I have to find out more about where this talent comes from. I want to know how he started doing this, and more importantly, why. The skull has evolved to protect our brains. But impact forces can become too great, and sharp objects can penetrate the bone, resulting in deadly effects. I know that we all have a nasal cavity that connects the nose to the throat, but the objects Brad is pushing through it appear to be going so far in, they must be touching the vital bone that protects his brainstem. One tap too far, and I have no doubt he would be instantly paralysed, or worse yet, killed. Brad decides to show me another demonstration, this time to illustrate the strength of his skull bone. He pushes a metal hook through his nose and out of his mouth. And he then hangs a steel anchor from the hook and somehow lifts it off the ground, placing all the weight onto his palate. The anchor weighs at least 30 kilograms, easily enough to fracture his skull. But he appears to feel no pain at all. Now he's preparing to put the drill bit up his nose. If he pushes it in just a millimetre too far, I'm worried the hammer mechanism will engage, causing instant death. Why would he do something so clearly dangerous?
This really isn't what I would call a normal skill. It's not something you just stumble across. So how did you get into this? What age did you start?
I began as a juggler at 15. And after high school, I started traveling with circuses. And I wanted to get out of the circus and do more original acts and different kinds of venues.
I don't even know where you start. Do you start with a small one and just kind of try? Or where did your thinking even come from?
Actually, I started with a nail and a small nail, and I worked my way up to bigger and bigger nails until if I do any bigger, I feel a splitting sensation up my forehead because they're so thick.
Oh God, I'm kind of scared to say it, but like if you're half an inch out on the angle?
Or even less. Doctors have told me that if clear liquid comes out my nose, it's probably brain fluid or fluid from my brainstem, and to get to the hospital immediately. So it's very dangerous. I risk my life when I perform it.
Okay, why? Like, why would you do something that's so risky?
For me, it's not only a challenge, but it's a creative outlet. Some people paint, some people sculpt.
Hang on, you are not going to try and get away with the fact that this is artistic in some way, are you?
Yes, because my act is only limited to my imagination and what I can practice. So I do very much say that it's an artistic form.
If I'm honest, it worries me, you know, given the fact that you've just said to me that you're coming within, you know, half an inch or quarter of an inch of the brainstem. It just unnerves me a lot, you know, knowing about the consequences being so huge.
Brad Byers has already made me question what is anatomically possible with his shocking demonstrations.
That's as far in as your ear, that's the middle of your skull.
Yeah.
But he says they are nothing in comparison to his next stunt.
Oh, wow.
We're now heading back to the prestigious Harley Street ENT clinic, where Brad is going to attempt to put the 5-inch drill bit into his head and turn it on. But will their severe warnings...
You're going to put this in your nose? You're not.
I will.
...deter him from attempting his deadliest stunt yet?
Many of the stunts that I do, I invented, I'm known for, or I have world records for. For example, I have the world record for swallowing 11 swords and twisting them in my throat. I have the record for the hottest flame extinguished on the tongue.
Brad claims he can carry out these extraordinary feats with no physical effects.
There's no pain whatsoever, and it's as easy and common as brushing your teeth for me.
So we're now going to find out if there's anything anatomically different about Brad, allowing him to survive nailing and drilling into his face. To try and find a scientific explanation for Brad Byers' incredible ability, we're now bringing in the latest technology. I want to take a 3D CT scan of Brad's skull after he hammers a nail into his nose. This will allow me to see exactly where it's going. But it's obviously not something they tend to see their patients doing around here.
What I'm trying to figure out is where this nail actually goes.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to follow me just into here?
All right.
And take a seat just on that chair there.
This machine will take cross-sectional images of Brad's skull, then feed them back to a computer to generate a detailed 3D image. Even the test scan gives me an idea of how deep in his head this nail goes.
That just looks so crazy.
Brad has to hold his head completely still as the CT scan is taken.
He's just sat there perfectly normal, really nonchalant, and he's got a 5-inch nail in his head.
With the test done, it's time for Brad to finally remove the nail and for us to take a closer look at the results.
Right, let's get some images up. Oh, wow.
Immediately, the scans clearly show that the tip of the nail comes within just a few fatal millimeters of his spinal cord.
Brad, seriously, do you know how close this comes to your brainstem?
It's a dangerous act.
Dangerous? You're redefining dangerous. We're talking like millimeters.
The 3D images make it even more apparent just how dangerous this stunt is. The nail runs straight through the nostril, completely blocking off one of his airways, and hits the back of the nasal cavity. With only a few millimeters of tissue stopping it from rupturing his spinal cord, just a small hit too far with that hammer could cause catastrophic damage. What I want to know is if there's any anatomical difference that allows Brad to do this. ENT Dr. Gerald Brooks will hopefully give me some specialist insight. What enables Brad to survive these insanely dangerous stunts where other humans would not?
Do you feel anything when you're doing this?
Yeah, I can feel it every bit of the way.
Okay, is it uncomfortable?
No.
Okay.
Unless I hammer it back a little too far.
Have you got to the maximum size?
I believe so, because if I try a thicker diameter, I feel a splitting sensation up my forehead when I rap on it with the hammer.
Dr. Brooks cannot believe what he's hearing.
Do you do it on both sides of the nose, or is it just one side?
I can do it on both sides, but I'm much better on the left side than I am on the right side.
Well, you enjoy the left side, but not the right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, it is possible that there is an anatomical aspect to this.
Dr. Brooks suggests that one explanation might be that Brad has a deviated septum, the part of the bone which divides his two nostrils.
So it occurs to me that the side he enjoys least will be the block side, right, and the other one will be the clear side.
Once again, Brad wants to demonstrate his extraordinary skull, this time by forcing a hook up through his nose and out of his mouth. But first, Dr. Brooks wants to try and work out where the hook is going to go on this real human skull.
Oh God, it's crunching quite a bit.
Crunching? Goodness me. How did you get that in there then? Does it come out the side?
No, it comes out the front, right where you had it.
You get the...
The point comes out past the teeth, right about in that position.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it,
And you close the jaw.
Yep.
Right, we're in play.
And that's how you do it?
It was pretty close.
Is that how you do it? You get this right out through the mouth?
Uh-huh. It comes right out through the... It lays on the bottom teeth.
Yeah, do you want to put the jaw back?
Yeah, about like that.
Oh, hang on. You dislocated his jaw there.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. He's back there.
This is incredibly dangerous. The hook barely makes it through the skull without breaking it. And that doesn't take into account the vital airways and arteries that could be damaged.
Right, well, we've got to see it. There's only one way to...
Yeah, exactly.
Brad doesn't take much encouraging.
Drum roll. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh my Lord. Oh look, it's moving the soft palate.
The soft palate is the area at the back of the roof of the mouth made up of soft tissue. It's extremely delicate and can easily be damaged.
I've seen some things in my time, but this is winning.
And what about reversing? Okay. That's pretty impressive.
You are crazy. Like, I know we use that term as, as kind of flippantly a lot of the time, but this is crazy.
Gerald has a theory about what may allow Brad to do this.
You know, the thing is, you have people who are actually in a physical battle, having their legs blown off and terrible things happening. They don't feel anything because the body releases these morphine derivatives which dull pain. And so it just seemed to me it's potentially possible that somehow you have a facility for switching on what we call endorphin production at will.
I'm extremely focused and I switch it on like that. I'm not aware of anything but exactly what I'm doing. I never allow any thoughts of an injury to enter my mind while I'm doing it.
Now Dr. Brooks wants to examine Brad's nose for himself to see if it's wide enough to take a drill bit.
Well, I would say a metaphorical train could get down that side of his nose. The septum in the nose is all displaced over there, so...
So straight away you've managed to notice that he's got a deviated septum, and that's why he would favour the left-hand side.
That's why he favours the left side. If he puts it down the right side, I would say, bless you, sir.
So Brad is anatomically different, but that only explains his ability to take the width of the nail. What about how deep it goes? To know for certain, we need to perform an endoscopy.
You can see a pretty good nasal cavity there.
Brad claims he doesn't do any damage, but the doctor spots something really worrying.
It looks as though there's a little bit of trauma to the septum, which is on the left side. And I would have said you've had an adenoidectomy, but there's a lot of white scarring at the back of your nose.
So this is all scarred?
Yeah, so the white area is scarring.
There are clearly puncture marks where Brad has hammered nails right up against the bone that protects his brain.
He's probably done it multiple times, and each time the nail goes slightly different place, and you can see there's a big white area of scar tissue.
Yeah.
And that would be relatively insensitive to pain. So the more times you do this, the scar tissue takes out the pain receptors, because he's actually managed to desensitise the back of the nose.
The doctor wants to see just how different his right nostril is to his left.
So you can see, as we go in past the nostril, this structure that fills the right half of the screen is the septum that's pushed over.
It looks a lot tighter, a lot smaller.
Yeah, and once again we're seeing all that scarring there. And this, just that white, the structure on the right there is the back of the nasal septum.
Yeah.
And if he banged a nail through the left nostril, we should see that.
Do you think that's possible, Brad?
Give me a hammer and let's go for it.
Right.
Yeah. Into the toolkit.
Comes up to close the...
Hang on.
Steady hand.
Steady.
There you are, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got it up there.
So that's the tip of the nail in the left-hand side, and we've come into the right-hand side.
Exactly.
Then that drops down into the throat.
Yeah, that drops down into the throat. Yes, and now it's actually gone a bit higher than I thought. A bit higher than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, so it's tucked in.
You're actually going for new pastures there. Behind that, there are important neural structures in the brainstem, where some very important clockwork is. So what we don't want to do, we don't want to bang that nail any further, really.
Concerned by what he's seen, Dr. Brooks asked Brad to remove the nail from his nose immediately. The endoscopy has confirmed that Brad is anatomically different, and he's managed to desensitise his pain receptors through repeating this trick. but the drill bit he's about to attempt is much, much thicker, and by turning it on could cause serious injury. If it goes a millimetre too far, he could be killed instantly. Brad Byers is about to attempt something that appears to defy medical science. But despite the serious dangers, Brad is still determined to carry out this deadly stunt. Inserting a power drill at full speed into his nose. One false move could engage the hammer mechanism, causing instant death.
You're going to put this in your nose? You're not.
I will.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I like to have it in forward mode. As I go in, I let it stop. Then I reverse the switch to back it out, because I found that if I back it out while it's in forward mode, it can take flesh with it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And you've done that?
Yeah, that's how I know. Another thing is I have to be careful with the aim. If I'm not perfectly aimed, it'll catch right here at the opening. It'll rattle my head on the grooves. And I can't panic, because if I adjust too quickly, it'll do more damage.
I mean, I was obviously at the hardware store, but like, I want to check that it's a proper one. Yeah.
I've got a piece of wood here we can drill a hole in.
Okay. So it's about the same as the nail, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Right. But it's quite deep as well. Right, okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Sorry for the mess if there's any dust, but... Oh, it's a real drill, all right. I still can't believe how nonchalant you are about this.
Well, if I panic or get excited, it won't go well.
I hope it goes without saying, this is not something you should try to imitate, ever. Brad is a professional performer with emergency medical staff on standby. Any attempt to copy this will cause serious injury and has the potential to kill.
Wow. The nail is one thing, but an actual spinning drill bit, and that's not kind of half-cocked, that's not on half speed, you're on full speed and then going straight in.
That was truly insane. One false move and Brad could have drilled straight into his own brain. He's proven he has an extraordinary ability, and despite bleeding from the nose, he says he's not in any pain.
The human toolbox is the appropriate name for you, I know that much.
On this leg of my journey, I've met two extraordinary humans. While many would see what Brad does as crazy...
Oh my days.
Brad, seriously, do you know how close this comes to your brainstem?
It's a dangerous act.
He's taken an anatomical difference and strives to push his body and mind to the most dangerous of limits.
Hello there folks, super excited for the 12th of May because I'm coming to lecture for you. Yes, we're going to be covering everything from sponge balls to Egyptian mummies. We're going to be talking about mind reading, and I've got my Wizard of Oz book, my magic spell book is going to be there, tarot cards, popcorn, a little bit of close-up, a little bit of kids magic, a little bit of everything, full cabaret stuff as well that you can learn from me. So make sure you're there on the 12th of May. I can't wait, I'm super excited, and I'll see you there. Bye.